So right now we're at 6:15 in the morning. I got woke up by some neighbors that were making some noise on purpose to wake me up in the morning early. So I'll come out and shoot a couple videos here, I guess, early morning. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the House of Congress and throughout the president's speech and everything that's happening right now. The president not shaking Miss Pelosi's hand. That's beyond disrespectful. He's a president. He's supposed to be running this world or at least our country, and that's the demeanor that he shows up to give a speech. So it's pretty terrible. In the same retrospect, it's funny and terrible that Miss Pelosi ripped up his speech. It's almost like touche, but at the same time, it's way beyond the means of what we need to be focusing on, what we should be working on. If you look at all the issues that are going on right now, it's the election is going to come down to capitalism versus socialism. That's where they're pushing it. That's where it's been going this whole time, and it's that's not the way it is. The United States of America has had socialism throughout its entire history. It's what's made this country great, or that country great. I'm in Mexico right now, but it's what made that country great. It's even Mexico has forms of helping out people that are poor. A lot of countries do. It's very important. If you look at many societies that are around the world, you look at the advanced healthcare systems and free healthcare and free education is not socialism. It's part of a thriving society. It's the exact reason that President Trump is going against it. It's the same as Bush and Obama before him. They're all running the same agendas. The agenda is to take the power away from the American people, to destroy the United States Constitution. That's exactly what they've done with the National Defense Authorization Act and the Patriot Act in 2004. These are the things that they're moving into. If you look at the Social Security cuts that they want to do, that Trump wants to do, the food card assistance, the food assistance for people that are poor, they're cutting into that also. There's already up to 140 million people that are in a poverty level in the United States of America out of 320 million people. That's almost half the population. This isn't done by accident. This is strategically done by capitalists who want to take control of the entire country, and they don't want to give up that money. They'd rather have you dead than give up that money, and that's exactly what they're working for. And by far, they're beating everybody on it right now. So, Congress, you guys need to get together. You guys half of you claim to be conservative, which is another definition for Christian, and you're not conservative and you're not Christian either, because if you were a Christian, a real follower of Jesus, he said to give and to give freely, and more will be supplied to you. But that's not how it's done. You guys are filling your bank accounts in every direction, and you're doing everything you can to avoid paying your taxes. When you have the money to pay it, you're avoiding paying those taxes because you feel that you're giving a handout to other people, and that's just not the way it is. There's a lot of elderly people in the United States of America that, as prices have rose dramatically, we're looking at almost 1,200% increase in the cost of commodities and food just in the last 10 years. That's a 1,200% increase that has not happened through any type of program like a Hola, Peaches. Got some dogs here that showed up. Oh, hi, Tikis. Oh, we got a couple of them here. We got 3 of them all together. These are the dogs that live at my friend's place where I stay. But we even got hi, Tikis. We got there's no way that the Social Security program's gone up $1,200. Here's the 4th one right here. What's up, bud? What's up? We got 4 of them dogs here. There's 2 here. There's 2 back there. But there's no way that Social Security's gone up 1,200%. So if you're looking at housing costs, everything's gone up so much. If you're looking at being an elder in the United States of America, every day it's getting increasingly more difficult to just to survive. It's not built. The system's not built on a way that's surviving. If Bernie Sanders doesn't get elected into office and they don't start raising and increasing Social Security, there's not going to be a place for a lot of elders except on the streets throughout America, which is already happening. If you look at the same situation with the veterans, there's 1 million veterans that are homeless in the streets of America. Why? Because the Trump administration and the military doesn't support their troops anymore. When they get home, it doesn't matter. Throw them out on the streets, let them drink alcohol, and let them waste their lives and waste themselves into absolute death through alcoholism and through drug abuse. It's a nowhere. It's a dead end street, and it's a place that takes you to absolutely nowhere. It's absolutely terrible that you claim to be a great country, or that you're trying to restore the greatness of a country, and you don't care about the people. It's a lie. It's what it is. You're a liar, Donald Trump, and so is your administration. Mike Pence, you're a liar. You guys are all liars. You want to look at somebody who actually cares about the troops, Miss Tulsi Gabbard. You can tell everything she talks about. She's 100% willing to help change the structure for the VA and everything that's going to help out the troops. It's not. I've voiced my opinion very loud about supporting the troops and the things that the troops need, and it's just falling on deaf ears. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to listen to it. You got a defense budget that's almost $770 billion, and yet they didn't allocate $5 billion to restructure the VA or to end veterans homelessness. They didn't care for anything like that. There are a few states that have been stepping up and doing their best to provide housing or some type of assistance to veterans, but it's just not enough, and it's not going to help. It might help in a very small term or short term way for a few people here and there, which is great, but it's not going to solve the big problems that are going throughout the country right now, especially as bubbles start to pop and stock markets and things start to go down. It's not the living wage hasn't increased enough to keep up with the cost of living, and that's the major problem that everybody's facing right now. Your commodities are skyrocketing, your housing costs are skyrocketing, your power and electric is skyrocketing, gas prices are skyrocketing, but yet the living wage is just stagnant. If anything, you could call it stagnant, but if anything, it's reverting. It's absolutely terrible. You look at the average income to the people in the 1960s. One person working was able to afford a house, 1 or 2 cars, 2 or 3 children, and that would include the house payment, the car payments, all the bills for the house, the food, with some money saved up for vacations and for education as those children grew, and even for retirement. And that was just one person working in the 1960s, and you can't even work 3 or 4 jobs and do that anymore. It's just because the money's not there. It's because the billionaires are taking it all. So you got companies like Amazon that are hitting a value worth $1 trillion, and yet they don't even want to pay their taxes, and they don't even want to pay a living wage. If your company's valued at $1 trillion, there should be no problem with you paying $20, $25, even $30 an hour, which is a living wage. $15 an hour, that's great. Everybody wants to give a raise to $15 an hour, but that's not a living wage. It's still a poverty level, and it's not going to help out the Americans in the long run. That's just the way it's going to go. So I haven't been watching much of the stuff that's going on throughout the world. I do know that there's still a lot of people that are working for some good things. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the coronavirus that's going on. President Xi Jinping, I really wish a lot of world leaders would get together and help you out on that, your circumstances that are happening there, and not allow anything to get any worse. I think it's very important that we all come together, especially on that issue, and try our best to help you solve whatever problem that you're having right there. I know you're building hospitals as fast as you can, and I know that you're working very hard to contain that virus. And I give you my best cheer and a round of applause for you, sir. I think you're doing a good job. I think you've announced it correctly. I think you're keeping the fear factor down and trying to keep everything in a rightful working way. And Mr. Xi Jinping, I thank you for it, and I'm praying for everybody in China. Mr. Putin from Russia, I thank you for offering to help. I know there's been some other countries that have stood up and helped, and the World Health Organization needs to get its act together and seriously step up and send some doctors from all over the world there. It's beyond the point. We have 7.5 billion people on this planet, and it's very important that when issues like this pop up, that we put teams together and put the troops together of all different kinds, troops being doctors and physicians and people that can get out there and help quarantine the areas and help to cure and find out the possible cures for these diseases and illnesses. Some of the friends that I follow on Twitter, I've seen some of the work you guys are doing. That's really, really impressive. I write about it if I post you on my page, and I write a be blessed or a thank you note to you. It's because I mean it with all my heart. There's a reverend out there. I can't recall his name at this moment right now, but awesome man. He's the one that I got the $140 million quote from people that are poor or in poverty. I posted 2 pictures of him on my Twitter yesterday, and said he's one of the most righteous men in America, and that's because he'll speak the truth, because he actually knows what a real Christian is and knows what it is to be a follower of Christ, because he's actually following Christ right down foot for footstep, right down the path that Christ laid for him, and I think it's very impressive. So I wish everybody out there a nice day, and I'll make another video today, and I'll try and get this one posted. Right now I'm on my way to Starbucks, and I'm going to upload a couple videos, and we'll see where it goes from there. I'm up early, and I'm in Cancun. Weather's nice. If you've never spent the winter in Cancun, I recommend you come and check this place out. It's really beautiful. A lot of really nice locals. Food's awesome. All in all, it's a really beautiful place. So I hope everybody out there has a wonderful day, and let's see what kind of news hits the social media networks today. And I'll make some videos, or at least one more video, maybe by noon today, and we'll talk about some of the other things that are happening. Again, I want to stress to Congress, you guys, the House is so divided, it's unreal. Don't let Donald Trump divide the House anymore. If the conservatives are going to stay with Trump, claiming to be Christ, Christians and followers of Christ, and they see that his demeanor and everything that is 100% the opposite of anything that Jesus would be, and so is his agenda, and so is all of the things that they're doing, cuts to the elders and cuts to the minorities, and cuts to the food programs, and cuts to the people who want an part of immigration. Not only is it illegal by law, but it's immoral by your heart and your soul. So if you don't have the moral values to stand up to your team leader, being the Conservative Party or the House of Republicans, then you have no right claiming Christianity any which way, and that's the truth of it. So I don't claim Christianity because I don't like you Christians, and that's just the truth of it. I claim to be a real Christian, and that's a real follower of Christ, because I've done enough in my life to lay down a path that's very similar to the one that Christ walked on, and a lot of my path that I lay down is because of the one that Jesus walked on. I make my choices based off of a lot of things he did, even just calling to let Donald Trump go on his impeachment process. So that's just part of the way it goes, and I like to repay evil with good. That's something that I really, really believe in, and that's just the way it is. We need a new president badly, and it's darn shame that they won't let me run for president, because I could easily win the presidency in the United States of America, and that's what you're all afraid of, and you guys all know it. So it's you guys are running a sham system. It's going to be extremely detrimental to the citizens of the United States if it continues on, and if they don't wake up to actually what's happening to capitalism that's eating their heart and soul out, and bring back the two-party system of capitalism and socialism, and make them balance each other out. Then either which way, socialism will eat itself out and capitalism will eat itself out. You can't have the both of them in extreme measures. You need to have them both evenly balanced. So that's something to think about today. Socialism, capitalism, you can't have it either which way. You got to have them just directly balanced. One is supporting the other, and the other is supporting the other. So they're two systems that are working in unity with each other. It's the exact thing that needs to happen in the House of Congress. So I wish everybody out there a wonderful day. God bless you all. I love you a lot.